something has changed in my relationship with my cat. Because I had we were a little standoffish around the time that my new cat, had to be neutered. He started peeing all over the place and pooping on the place and something went sideways. When he was old enough to eat Smalls, everything changed with the cat. He now will come up to me. He'll sit on top of me. He purrs. He wants to rub his face on my beard, which I'm okay with that. And I don't know if it's because of the Smalls, but I know he loves his Smalls. This podcast is sponsored by Smalls. For a limited time, you can get 60% off your first order plus free shipping when you head to smalls.com/majority. Smalls cat food is protein-packed recipes made with preservative-free ingredients that you'd find in your fridge. And it's delivered right to your door. Super easy. That's why Cats.com named Smalls their best overall cat food. And starting with Smalls is easy. You just share info about your cat's diet, health, and food preferences. Then Smalls puts together a personalized sampler for your cat. You don't have to pick between random brands at the store. Smalls has the right food to satisfy any cat's cravings. My cat, he loves anything that's like the chicken or the turkey, but it's the broth. Smalls also has extras like this broth that you can put into the food and it just supercharges it.
Put it on the wet food and makes it not wet anymore.
And on the dry food.
On the dry food, yeah.
And the other thing is that cats sometimes they don't drink enough water, and so it keeps them hydrated. If you're still not a believer in Smalls, Forbes ranks Smalls the best overall cat food, while BuzzFeed said my cats went completely ballistic for this stuff. I don't know why you would believe BuzzFeed over Matt and I, but whatever. Smalls also has a bunch of amazing treats and snacks you can add to your order. It's like a little holiday gift for your cat. After switching to Smalls, 88% of cat owners reported overall health improvements. That's a big deal. You know what I've noticed? And I don't know if his poop doesn't smell as bad. I mean, I'm not, whatever. And the team at Smalls is so confident your cat's going to love their product. You can try it risk-free. That means they'll refund you if your cat won't eat their food. What are you waiting for? Give your cat the food they deserve. For a limited time, because you are a Majority Report viewer or listener, get 60% off your first order plus free shipping when you head to smalls.com/majority. One last time, that's 60% off your first order plus free shipping when you head to smalls.com/majority. What do you have to lose, folks? Check it out. All right, and now it's time for the show.
The Majority Report with Sam Seder.
The destiny of America is always safer in the hands of the people than in the conference rooms of any elite.
Sam Seder.
They are unanimous in their hate for me, and I welcome their hatred.
We must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
The Majority Report with Sam Seder.
Ever get the feeling you've been cheated?
It is Wednesday, December 10th, 2025. My name is Sam Seder. This is the 5-time award-winning Majority Report. We are broadcasting live steps from the industrially ravaged Gowanus Canal in the heartland of America, downtown Brooklyn, USA. On the program today, Kalena Thomhave, Pittsburgh-based independent journalist on inequality, on home care workers losing their minimum wage protections under the Trump administration. Then Senator Bernie Sanders, senator of Vermont, author of Fight Oligarchy on the oligarchy and more. Also on the program today, a third federal judge approves unsealing of the Epstein documents. We'll see if Trump's DOJ will actually do it. Democrat wins Miami mayoral race for the first time in 30 years. In a special election in Georgia, a Democrat flips a state House district that had been dummy-mandered, one that Trump won by 13 points. Trump on an affordability tour plays the very, very tired hits. Republicans in the House to end its boat strike probe because they never really cared. In the Senate, Republicans will offer a bill to replace Obamacare subsidies with a one-time payment that goes into health savings accounts that will cover maybe a tenth of what those Obamacare subsidies covered. U.S. to subject foreign tourists to social media history review. Trump regime to shut down a Biden-era student loan cancellation for about 7 million people. The EPA is wiping mention of human-caused climate change from its website. In Illinois, Pritzker signs a law banning immigration arrests at courthouse, limits info given to ICE, makes it easier to sue those federal agents. Lastly, 25-year-old glyphosate safety study retracted after it was discovered that the study was written by Monsanto. All this and more on today's Majority Report. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks so much for joining us. Emma Vigeland out today, although she will join us for the Bernie Sanders interview. We interviewed him yesterday afternoon, and we will be playing that after we speak to Kalena Thomhave. So Donald Trump is on an affordability tour which is sort of fascinating. Did they bill it as the affordability tour?
That's what I read on Fox.
And you'll recall that he got sick of the word affordability. No, I'm sorry. Day one, after Mamdani wins, we've got to talk more about affordability. Then day two, I'm sick of affordability. We're not talking about affordability. Then yesterday, Donald Trump heads to Pennsylvania, out near the Poconos, at the Mount Airy Casino Resort. Because he's a man of the people.
Cost of living is so bad at these casinos.
So he head to a casino. It was a venue of about 600, 700 people. And he's out there, wanting to talk to the economy because, here is News Nation is interviewing some Pennsylvanians, and this is what they say about the economy.
We're still struggling, even when we have our money coming through. We had to suffer going almost a week with no food.
I mean, food prices are up, but I think gas is down, coming down. I think things are getting a lot better.
The economy's down the tubes. Healthcare is awful. Prescriptions are terrible. Groceries are off the charts. Yep. And I think the only way we're going to do better is if he gets out and somebody else gets in.
Now, the second guy definitely was like a hardcore Trumper and had to admit, incidentally, gas prices are not down. But nevertheless, here's Donald Trump. He hears these people. He knows what they want. And he addressed it very much. We're going to play number 3. Okay, yeah. Go ahead.
And we had a meeting, and I say, why is it we only take people from shithole countries, right? Why can't we have some people from Norway, Sweden, just a few? Let us have a few. From Denmark, do you mind sending us a few people? Send us some nice people, do you mind? But we always take people from Somalia, places that are a disaster, right? Filthy, dirty, disgusting, ridden with crime. The only thing they're good at is going after ships.
Okay.
And
how many people in that audience, I think, even know what Somalia is? I don't think they had a clue.
Could find it on a map.
No. And so
I've seen the Tom Hanks movie about
he
the pirates.
incidentally, only 700 people in that venue. 700 people. There were more people at the Mamdani satellite election parties in any given one of them than were in that place. And so he doesn't get the rush that he wants from saying Somalia, because they're all like, wait, none of those people have met anybody from Somalia. They don't know. I mean, with all due respect, I suspect like you could put one person from Somalia and one person from Norway, and a significant portion of those people would not be able to tell which country they came from. So he's got to get a little more explicit, and here he does with number 4.
please raise your hand. That's for Minnesota, you know. That's called the Great Big Minnesota Scam, with one of the dumbest governors ever in history. I love this Elon Omar, whatever the hell her name is, with the little shing, the little turban.
Shing.
I love her. She comes in, does nothing but bitch. She's always complaining. She comes from
All right,
her
pause it
country
for 1 second.
where...
Can we just look at this?
I'm sorry. This feels racist against white people. Come on.
Just go back a little bit. I want you to look at the guy in the back there with the white hat. When Trump says all she does is bitch. Okay, this guy has finally been heard. He has been dealing with this for his full whatever it is, 25 years. Go back just a little bit. Watch his reaction. Go ahead.
Bitch. She's always complaining. She comes from a country where, I mean, it's considered about the worst country in the world, right? They have no military, they have no nothing, they have no parliament. They don't know what the hell the word parliament means. They have nothing. They have no police.
Pause it for a second. With all due respect to everybody in the audience, how many of them know the word parliament? Can you explain to me?
Excuse me. Cigarettes?
Can you explain to me a parliamentary form of government? Go ahead.
Police themselves, they kill each other all the time. I love it. She comes to our country, and she's always complaining about the Constitution allows me to do this. We ought to get her the hell out. She married her brother in order to get in, right? She married her brother.
Easy there.
Can you
This
imagine if Donald Trump married his sister? Beautiful. She's a beautiful person. If I married my sister to get my citizenship, do you think I'd last for about 2 hours, or would it be something less than that? She married her brother to get in.
Hold on.
Can
Can you imagine if, for instance, I married my hooker and that's the way she got citizenship? Or if I dated my daughter? Just for a moment, imagine if I dated my daughter. Think about that. I'm going to think about that for a second. Give me an hour or two and think about me like dating my daughter. Vaughn.
We'd probably
Just
get
think
in so
about
much
how
trouble.
hot she is, and I'll think about that. Think about that for a minute.
Imagine if Rudy Giuliani married his second cousin.
Oh yeah, can you imagine if he had multiple affairs? Can you imagine that? That would be God.
Citizenship. Do you think I'd last for about 2 hours,
How
or
long
would
could
it
I
be
last?
something less than that? She married her brother to get in. Therefore, she's here illegally. She should get the hell out. Throw her the hell out. She does nothing but complain.
Nasty.
Whoa, wait. Put that back up. Does that shirt say Persians for Trump?
I think it does say that, yeah.
Do you know how many Iranians have been rolled up by the Trump administration on this immigration thing? Like the guy standing right there, go get him.
Yeah, well, I'm not talking about Iran or Persia. I'm talking that's Iran.
Unbelievable.
That's PBD's fault right there.
There you have it. That's Donald Trump's response to the affordability crisis in the country. Brian was saying that's like watching Andrew Dice Clay still doing his routine sometime in the late 90s, maybe early aughts.
It's like a half-filled club.
He's at like
dickory dog.
He's at the VFW. Oh, what's going? Oh, why is everybody so old?
I used to play Madison Square Garden. Oh.
We'll play a couple more clips of Donald Trump. He seems very energetic. 2 days after the day that I have it down that he gets juiced. I don't know.
Let's go do some racism for the yokels.
Okay, come on. I'm feeling it. It's going through my veins. We'll get out there, play the hits again.
I don't think the guys behind him holding bigger paycheck signs, like no one sees that, you idiots.
Have you seen videos of Frankie Valli lip syncing in his 90s? that really is what it's like.
That would be amazing.
It's out there.
In a moment, we're going to be talking to Kalena Thomhave. She's a Pittsburgh-based independent journalist on her piece on the home care workers losing their potentially losing their wage protections. First, word from our sponsors. I don't know about you, but I have so many things on my to-do list that it's insane. Particularly around this time of year, but just about any time. And so if there's anything I can put off, and maybe because I feel like I'm intimidated by it, I will do it. But there are some things that you need to get done and don't want hanging over your head. And of course, your trust, or particularly your will, is something you don't want to put off. Trust and Will turns estate planning from a when I have time task into a quick, straightforward process, ensuring you're protecting your family's future today. Go to trustandwill.com/majority. Get 20% off their simple, secure, and expert-backed estate planning service. I did my will after my first child was born, and but it took a long time because at that time, they didn't have anything like Trust and Will. You had to go see a lawyer. It was intimidating and this and that. I've been through this Trust and Will process. It is super easy. It is literally like filling out like an easy survey. Super easy, very straightforward. And I am telling you, once you get your will done, if you have kids or you have family or any assets that you want to give to somebody, it is going to feel like you have the greatest burden lifted off of your shoulders. Their easy-to-use website is easy, and it's simple to navigate. All your information and documents are securely stored with bank-level encryption. Each will or trust is state-specific, it's legally valid, and it's customized to your needs. It's got an overall rating of excellent and thousands of five-star reviews on Trustpilot. Honestly, the peace of mind alone is worth it. Add some peace of mind to your future with Trust and Will. Go to trustandwill.com/majority for 20% off. That's 20% off at trustandwill.com/majority. Put the information in the podcast and YouTube descriptions. Also, around the time of this year in particular, you may feel a little drained. Long work weeks, busy weekends can leave you and feeling and looking depleted. Prolon's 5-day fasting mimicking diet works at the cellular level to rejuvenate you from the inside out. providing real results that include fat-focused, sustainable weight loss with no injection needed. And now they're up in their game with the next generation 5-day program, delivering the same science-backed benefits in a cleaner, more convenient, and more flavorful format. Prolon is a plant-based nutrition program featuring soups, snacks, and beverages designed to nourish the body while keeping it in a fasting state, which triggers cellular rejuvenation and renewal. It was developed for decades at the USC's Longevity Institute. It is backed by top U.S. medical centers. Prolon has been shown to support biological age reduction, metabolic health, skin appearance, fat loss, and energy. The Prolon's next generation, you get everything you need from a prepackaged and ready to go. Each order of Prolon's 5-day program comes with 5 boxes labeled by day, so you know what to each day. Next Gen builds on the original Prolon with 100% organic soups and teas, a richer taste, and ready-to-eat meals. I did this last year, and I'll tell you, I was very nervous about it, but I was super interested in this idea of the longevity stuff. And it was actually not that hard. I did the show. I had as much energy as I've ever had. So actually, I would probably even argue a little bit more. It is weird. You go through different cycles through it. And it keeps you in this sort of like a fast, like in this, it's like fasting, but with food. And it really was sort of exciting to do. For a limited time, Prolon is offering listeners 15% off site-wide plus a $40 bonus gift when you subscribe to their 5-day program. Just visit prolonlife.com/majority. That's prolonlife.com/majority to claim your 15% discount and your bonus gift. prolonlife.com/majority. And lastly, we're headed into holiday party season. There has been one thing that I drink that keeps me from having a miserable next day if I've had some drinks the night before, and that is ZBiotics pre-alcohol probiotic drink. It is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's the buildup of this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for rough days after drinking. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme, and it breaks this byproduct down. All you got to do is make pre-alcohol from ZBiotics your first drink of the night. Drink responsibly, and you're going to feel your best tomorrow. This is how the next morning after Zoran won, we were covering it here. We were indulging a little bit. The first drink of the night for me is pre-alcohol from ZBiotics. When I go to a holiday party, when I go to the holiday party I go to one. It's what I drink beforehand. If I know that I'm going out for a big dinner, I will do that. I feel the difference the next day. I don't feel miserable. Make the most of every toast this holiday season. Don't forget to bring the pre-alcohol along for the ride. Go to zbiotics.com/majority. Learn more. Get 15% off your first order when you use majority at checkout. ZBiotics is backed with a 100% money-back guarantee, so if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they're going to refund your money, no questions asked. Remember to head to zbiotics.com/majority. Use the code majority at checkout for 15% off. Quick break. When we come back, Kalena Thomhave. We'll be right back after this. We are back. Sam Seder on the Majority Report. Emma Vigeland out today. I want to welcome to the program Kalena Thomhave. Sorry, I just asked you that. She's a Pittsburgh-based independent journalist writing for Capital in Maine about the prospect of home care workers losing their minimum wage protections. Kalena, let's just start with, like, what historically, just give us some history on home care workers, because this has come up over the years. There was an attempt to unionize them, I don't get 5-6 years ago, maybe more. I can't remember. Time has escaped me, but give us a little bit of background and welcome to the show.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks for having me. Sure. So domestic workers have struggled a lot to win worker protections over the past century, essentially. So domestic workers were one of the groups of workers that were excluded from federal labor protections. As many people know, in the original New Deal, domestic workers being, of course, mostly Black women in those roles. And then fast forward a few decades, and in the 70s, when care workers were brought into the Fair Labor Standards Act, there was an exemption put forth for companions. The idea that a companion is someone who just provides fellowship and like a relationship, protects someone, and that they kind of like watch them, a babysitter, essentially. There was an exemption for care workers if they were considered companions. And so essentially,
what was the theory behind that? I mean, and we should say, I just, want to just sort of fill some of this back in. Part of the sort of trade-off to get the New Deal passed was essentially to exclude professions or jobs that were mostly filled by African Americans. So, like porters on trains also were left out. And that means no Social Security pay into wage protections in that respect. So what was the theory by having like companions at that time?
Yeah, so I think the idea, at least if we're looking at it kind of graciously, is that a companion is someone who is just like giving social time, right? Like maybe they live with you and they keep you from being isolated. You might also think of like one-off babysitters. A babysitter wouldn't be protected under federal labor laws. But the problem is that the companionship exemption was notoriously exploited by care worker agencies who classified care workers as companions, and they continued to do that for decades until 2015, when the Obama administration made the definition much more strict and made a rule that third-party agencies couldn't claim it.
This is like, I mean, I think like this type of stuff operates almost, I don't want to say subterranean, but people are not aware of just sort of the ability of the Department of Labor to change a couple of sentences in their regulations and completely change the fate of millions of people who are working. These are 3 million. We're talking about 3 million people across the country, right? Yeah. Go into, you mentioned in the piece that the Department of Labor is reversing this, and basically, like, tell us what the actual implications are going to be for, and what percentage of these 3 million people are basically now going to be swindled. It's essentially being swindled out of their wages.
Yeah, so I should say it is a proposal. It's expected to be enacted. But, and actually, as of July, the department is actually acting as if it's already been enacted, even though it hasn't officially been put on the rules. They have completely thrown out the original definition that I was talking about, that the Obama administration put back in. But essentially, what's going to happen is that these 3 million people are going to lose their federal protections, and the protections will fall to their state. And so fortunately, about half of the states do have some form of state overtime or minimum wage protection for home care workers, but half don't. So
give me a sense of, like, I just want to take a wild guess here. Yeah. Are those states that retain the protections, who have higher standards, are those mostly blue states?
They are. They are. But you'd also be surprised, like you were talking about with just a few sentences. So Oregon actually instituted a domestic worker Bill of Rights recently, put in all these rights for workers, but in the Bill of Rights, it says that overtime and minimum wage protections will match the federal rate. So in Oregon, they're also going to lose protections, even though they passed a federal Bill of Rights. They passed, not a federal, it's Oregon. They passed a state Bill of Rights for the workers there. So it would have to go back to the legislature.
And I guess my guess would be they just assume that the feds would not reverse themselves in the way they did.
Right. Exactly.
And so these folks, what I also find, well, let's also just talk about this. There's these changes are, you write, part of a suite of 63 deregulatory actions by the Department of Labor. Give us a sense of like what some of those others are. But I would imagine, well, before you get to that, let me just, I also imagine that these people, this is, there's sort of like, I want to say a shell game going on here, because the story that the Trump administration will tell us is that you have immigrants taking Americans' jobs and bringing down wages. A lot of these home care workers are immigrants, and many, at least a significant portion of whom now, I mean, like there's a lot of pressure on this group of people. And it almost feels like they're being lobbied by these associations, these agencies that provide the home care workers. They know that there's wages are going to go, there's going to be pressure on their wages to go up, right? Because there's going to be less home care workers available. And they are basically foreclosing the opportunity for those wages, for their upward pressure on wages to happen.
I think that you could make that conclusion. Sure.
It really, go ahead.
I was just going to say that it just kind of seems like a ticking time bomb too, with all of the changes happening in care work, with Medicaid being cut, with more and more people needing care work. This rule going to lead to more turnover. It seems like a real problem.
Tell us a little bit more about the suite of 63 deregulatory actions. Yeah,
so I imagine that there's many more than that, but that was in one day in July. They dropped 63 deregulatory actions, the Department of Labor, and they really run the gamut. There were some COVID emergency resolutions that were reversed, some respiratory protections for workers that were loosened, OSHA restrictions for certain industries like construction were loosened, things like that. Basically just a bunch of deregulation in favor of big business. And that's kind of the MO of a lot of the executive branch, right? I know when this suite came out, they talked about how for every rule put forth, they want to roll back 10.
Right. What, so if they have changed the language on the federal level, like, are these corporate providers of home care workers, are they now like paying like the state level minimum wage or no minimum wage and providing no overtime pay? Is that basically what's happening, or are they waiting for it to become more official?
Right. So it's not official right now, but what the Department of Labor did tell their investigators to do is to stop investigating any instances of wage theft based on the companionship exemption, based on violations of it. So it's not official, but
there's no enforcement mechanism. And,
exactly.
and if you and I know there's no enforcement mechanism, certainly these corporations know there's no enforcement mechanism. If I'm in a state and I'm getting underpaid here, is there a I mean, I still imagine like I have a legal, I could still sue, right? I mean, theoretically, even if the federal government is not enforcing it.
Privately, and you could also go to your state. And especially there are a lot of states that are actually really concerned about this because they're concerned about the level of wage theft complaints that they are now going to get since workers won't be able to go through the federal government. I know
so they've got to
in my
ramp
home
up.
state of Pennsylvania, yeah, like the vast plurality of wage theft investigations that they do are in care work.
And what about unions? Are unions moving into this area? I mean, I don't know if they have the. It's very difficult to unionize under what's going on, obviously, with this Trump administration. But is there any attempt to organize these people?
Yeah, it's also really difficult to organize care workers in the first place since they're all in separate private homes, but there are a lot of unions doing good work. SEIU has unionized a lot of care workers. United Domestic Workers in California, they've actually already pushed back against the proposed rule, and they got the state legislature to put overtime protections in place. Wage protections were already in place, but they were able to solidify those state protections, at the state level. So California workers will be protected thanks to the unionized workers there.
Are they are the unions? Do they anticipate this lasting? Like, I mean, if J.B. Pritzker is the president in 2028, do they expect it to go back?
I mean, it's hard to say, and I don't really want to speculate, but I think that it would be likely because this is clearly this is a change that came about directly because of lobbying by home care associations. Essentially, they were lobbying the Department of Labor directly, and it's something that domestic workers have worked on for decades. Even those who aren't unionized, the National Domestic Workers Alliance has done so much work to organize workers. One of the workers I talked with is not unionized, but she's an organizer with the National Domestic Workers Alliance. And they've put pressure on state governments and the federal government for decades. And so I want to say that I think it would go back if the executive changes.
Well, we'll see. Kalena Thomhave, we will link to your piece in Capital Maine. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, folks, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to be interviewing Senator Bernie Sanders, who is, we interviewed him yesterday afternoon. Emma and I both participated in that interview, and we're going to take a quick break. We'll come back with that. We are back. Sam Seder, Emma Vigeland on the Majority Report. It is a pleasure to welcome, I think, back to the program. It's been quite a while. Senator
prior
Bernie,
to my time.
I think so. Well, yeah, maybe even as the podcast. Senator Bernie Sanders, senator from Vermont. Thanks so much for being here.
My pleasure.
Let's start with, we are recording this on Tuesday, but on Wednesday in the House, they're going to be voting on the NDAA. Wanted to get your sense of what is going on with our military spending. The House is actually pushing for $8 billion more than Donald Trump is asking. It feels like that's been going on for years now, where Congress is sort of outstripping the president's request for more money for the military.
It has been going on for years, and thank you for raising the issue. It is not talked about enough. So when we talk about the defense bill, we talk about this aspect of it, we talk about that aspect of it, but we don't look at the bill in its totality, which is to say that when you add everything up, what's in the defense authorization bill plus other military spending, we are spending over $1 trillion a year on the military. This is something like 9 times more than it's more than the next 9 nations combined, including many of our allies. And it takes place when we have the highest rate of childhood poverty and senior poverty of almost any major country on earth. So it's an absurd priority. Primarily, it's a gift to the military-industrial complex who make all kinds of money.
You know, we just interviewed somebody who wrote a book called The $1 Trillion War Machine. From your perspective, where is there a weak link in terms of like beginning to move this budget in the opposite direction? I'm old enough to remember the peace dividend that we never really saw.
Right.
What's the idea?
What is said, I mean, not shocking, you know, if people know my views, is the Democratic leadership cooperates with the Republicans. This truly is a bipartisan effort to give huge amounts of money to the military-industrial complex. I think the antidote is to have a national conversation and a movement which is determined to change our national priorities. Several years ago, and I helped write the American Rescue Plan, in one bill, with one provision, we cut childhood poverty in America by 40%. One bill, one provision, all right? So it's a question of getting our priorities right. We don't need to be spending more than the next 9 nations combined. What we need to be doing is investing in our people, in childcare, in education, in infrastructure, not just more money for the military.
And you can see how these are connected. Not to bring it back to the election, but I do think it's important when we're reflecting and speaking about how the issue of, say, you know, the genocide in Gaza, for example, and the way that young people were completely disaffected by that. When I got into politics, it was in part because Obama was in opposition to the Iraq War, and that galvanized me as a young person. In terms of reorienting our national priorities, where do you see the Democrats going in both connecting the income inequality piece to this, but also in terms of repairing broken trust about the anti-war energy that's so important in bringing young people on board?
Well, Emma, thanks for that question. I mean, there was once a time, and I'm old enough to remember it, where a significant percentage of Democratic elected officials stood strongly against unnecessary military spending. And I fear that that is not quite the case. Many of the Democratic establishments are worried that they're going to be soft on defense, et cetera, et cetera. And of course, it ties in not only to the horrific support that we have given Netanyahu and the Israeli military, tens of billions of dollars over a period of years to destroy the people in Gaza, but it speaks to the military literally out on the streets in American cities today. One might think that when you have the President of the United States for the first time sending U.S. troops into cities in America, somebody might say, wait a second, why are we putting more money into the military? That's a little bit too radical a concept for many of my colleagues.
Senator, I want to just reference your book. You spent the summer into the fall on an anti-oligarchy tour. You wrote a book on the more or less the same topic. From your perspective, and I know in 2016, you entered the race, and much of it was like getting money out of politics. The Supreme Court has, as far as I can tell, shut the door on that prospect, and very well may be opening it up to even more money going forward. What do you see? Again, this is another sort of like broader question about breaking this cycle. Like, what do you see? Is there a sequence? Like, how do you tackle the oligarchy? Is there anything that needs to come first?
I think, Sam, ordinary Americans, and not just people who are inclined to be Democrats, understand that this country faces fundamental systemic crises, okay? Not small stuff. What does that mean? I mean, it's what my book was about. And by the way, if I may say so, it's a good book. And what it talks about, what we do not as a nation talk about, but people want to hear more about, is the fact that you have a handful, a small number of extraordinarily wealthy people. Elon Musk now owns more wealth than the bottom 52% of American households. Now, just deal with that. One guy, more wealth than the bottom 52% of American households. Don't you think that might be a subject of enormous discussion and debate. The outrageous nature, the inequality of that, the power that goes to that. Meanwhile, Musk, again, spends $270 million to help Trump get elected. And then you have these guys, the autocrats doing business in Saudi Arabia, Qatar. So what you are seeing is a global oligarchic movement where a handful of the wealthiest people all over the world, in a sense, are dividing up the planet. You cannot run away from that issue. It is insane that the top 1% owns more wealth than the bottom 93%. Billionaires are flourishing, never done better. And 60% of Americans in the richest country on earth are living paycheck to paycheck. All right, so I don't want to proselytize here, but am I missing something in suggesting that this is an issue of enormous importance?
I don't think you're missing anything.
No.
You're preaching to the choir here, but back to just a little bit about where we go in the future with the Democratic Party. You know, I'm encouraged to see there be this coalescing behind the buzzword of affordability. It's the step in the right direction, but oligarchy versus affordability feels like kind of the fault lines here.
Don't be naive on me here. I mean, that's just a poll-driven word. What do you mean?
Fair enough.
What does the establishment mean? Oh, yes,
Right.
Trump is driving up prices. Terrible. Vote him out. All right, that's fine. But what do we mean? Its affordability is not just the fact that Republicans are resisting extending the ACA tax credits, which means that premiums are going to, on average, double for 20+ million Americans. That's a disaster. But when you talk about affordability, you tell me how many establishment Democrats are asking the simplest of all questions. What's the first question you ask about healthcare? Duh. Why are we spending twice as much per person on healthcare as the people of any other major nation? And yet we have 85 million uninsured or underinsured. Is that not the first question you might ask? That's affordability. All right? But that's not quite a question we are happy to ask, because you know what? You're going to start tangling with the insurance companies and the hospitals and the drug companies. So let's stay away from that issue. We'll stay with the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, which is a disaster, frankly. So you got prescription drug prices. I mean, we've worked very hard on it with some success. In some cases, we pay 10 times more than other countries do for the same exact drug. That's an affordability issue. You're going to have to take on the pharmaceutical industry big time. So my suggestion is we got to make it more than just a slogan, a poll-driven slogan. We got to go further. Housing, all right? What do you do about housing?
Wages.
I got to tell you,
Yeah.
I underestimated this problem. I got to admit that. In my state, it is unbelievable, but it's all over this country. You're seeing working people paying 50% of their incomes in housing, for housing. That's insane. All right? So if you're going to talk about affordability, what do you do? How do you build millions of units of low-income and affordable housing? Those are the issues we got to be tackling.
Is there? I mean, it seems to me that the problem with the oligarchy is that the money that they have, these differences in this wealth disparity translates into political disparity. So how do you break that cycle? It's one thing to say we're going to fight the insurance companies, but it's tricky to fight the insurance companies.
Or AI, artificial intelligence as well. Okay, so what do you got to do? First of all, I mean, I think, as you indicated earlier, this Supreme Court decision on Citizens United has done more to undermine American democracy than any decision, I think, in American history. So one way or another, we got to get rid of it. And you're seeing states moving in the right direction. New York City, for example.
Matching funds, right.
We got to get around this issue. We cannot allow billionaires and their super PACs to buy elections, and it is getting worse, all right? One of the issues that I have been talking about, very concerned about, is the impact of AI and robotics on the economy and many other things, all right? I think what you're asking is, how, in fact, do you take on a group like Ellison and Musk and Bezos and these guys combined worth, you know, hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars? And they start their super PACs, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that has got to be a major political issue. If I'm running for office, I say not only am I not going to take corporate PACs, we got to address the fact that we have a corrupt, and that's the word, campaign finance system. And you want to get my vote, you're running for office, you want to get my vote, you got to have way up on your list of priorities ending this corrupt campaign finance system. But ultimately, Sam, all of these issues, the economy, campaign finance, AI, healthcare, require a grassroots political movement that is prepared to take on the big money interests that fight for working people. And I'm happy to say that in bits and pieces and here and there, we are making progress. Mamdani's victory in New York, Katie Wilson's victory in Seattle, those are not small things.
And do you think, I'm going to assume that you're not running for president in 2028. But please correct me if I'm wrong. But be that as it may, do you feel that we are at the point now where advocating for a Medicare for all is what it's going to take for a candidate to win the Democratic primary this year? Or I should say in 28, this cycle?
Look, it is no secret. Sam, I get all over the country, and when the crowd is not at 30,000 and it's a small crowd, I ask people, I say, you tell me, is the American healthcare system broken? Yeah, it is. Everybody knows that it is broken, okay? You cannot go around defending the Affordable Care Act when rates have soared, and in many ways it's just a subsidy for the insurance companies, all right? So we need to move in an aggressively different way. I believe Medicare for all is the way to provide cost-effective universal health care to every man, woman, and child in this country. I think more and more people understand that. And just in the last few weeks, we have 2 new co-sponsors in the Senate. Chris Van Hollen and Tina Smith came on board. We're up to, I think, 18 or 19. They got 100 or more co-sponsors in the House. So we are making some progress. But what we need to do is make sure that in any serious campaign, and I do that, if I endorse somebody, almost always, that person is going to be supporting Medicare for all.
It speaks, I think, to a broader problem here where so much of what the Democrats are offering or are not is defensive. It's about defending the Affordable Care Act. It's about saying we're going to maintain a certain system. And when the system is, as what we say, where we're at gilded age levels of income and wealth inequality, you sound like you are defending the system that's immiserating people, and Trump sounds like he's changing things.
You got it. I mean, Emma, that's exactly right. Look, Trump, in essence, when he runs for president, says the system is broken and I will fix it, right? Now, you and I know that everything he's doing, or virtually everything he's doing, is making a bad situation worse. But what Democrats try to do is tinker around the edges. If your income is $43,927, you will be eligible for something. It's enormously complicated. You have to fill out 18 pages, but we'll get you that. All right. What we need to say is the system, what I would call uber capitalism, is an incredibly broken system. Let's just go through it. Bear with me for 1 second. All right. Richest country in the history of the world. More income and wealth inequality than we have ever had. Richest people doing phenomenally well. 60% of Americans living paycheck to paycheck. Healthcare system broken. Educational system, childcare dysfunctional, widely expensive, workers underpaid. Kids can't afford to go to college. We once used to have a higher percentage of college graduates than any other country on earth. We were the best educated country on earth. That ain't the case right now. Kids coming out deeply in debt, okay? Other countries say, we want a well-educated workforce. We will guarantee you quality higher education. Don't worry about the money. Our public school system in deep trouble. We are not attracting the best and the brightest teachers. Teachers are asked to deal with disasters in their classroom. Kids who are have troubles disrupting the class. Bottom line is, last international exams we saw, the United States of America was something like 37th place. Got it? In terms of math, science, writing, and so forth and so on. Housing, a disaster. Transportation, try getting on a plane and seeing if you're going to get any place on time. It ain't going to happen. So if you look at the food, you got the food industry and essentially, giving our kids crap, which causes obesity, which causes diabetes, and a number of other illnesses. See, if you look at the basic necessities of life, health, education, nutrition, housing, we're not doing well. We are doing rather poorly. So we need a radical and fundamental transformation of American society, a government that works for everybody, not just Mr. Musk and his friends.
When you look at what has taken place over the past 11 months, I don't think we have seen a more destructive force in terms of just the apparatus of our government, whether it's Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the NLRB, the IRS, the Department of Education, on and on and on. The institutions themselves, the flow of people through it, the institutional memory, all of this destroyed in a way that I feel like we've never experienced in modern times.
We have never experienced before. Sam, let's see who we are dealing with. We're dealing with the president who really does not believe in the Constitution. When he has a lavish dinner and wonderful events for MBS, the dictator of Saudi Arabia, that's not an accident. And then he disparages Europe. What is that about? This is his idea of what government should be about. MBS, as you know, in Saudi Arabia, it's $1 trillion family, the wealthiest family in the world. They imprison, torture their political opponents. They do whatever they want to do, building cities and so forth and so on. That is Trump's vision of what government should be about. So in the process, you're going to act illegally. And the other thing, and unconstitutionally, you're going to destroy every agency of government that works for working families. And the other thing you do, and this is really disgusting, it goes a step deeper than destroying this or that agency, whether it's the FDA or the Center for Disease Control. What demagogues always do is they say, you know what? Our country has a lot of problems. Everybody's saying, yeah, I've got a lot of problems. And you know who the cause of that problem is? It is in Europe. It's the Jews, it's the Gypsies, it's this group. In the United States, it's blacks, it's gays. And now it is the undocumented people, or it is those people from Somalia. That is the problem that we are having. You get rid of those people, man, you're going to get a really wonderful country. That is what demagogues, and that is the disgusting aspect of demagoguery. Rather than saying, all right, look, we got problems. How do you deal with the housing crisis? How do you deal with the healthcare crisis? I have my views, you may have your views, Trump may have his views, but we don't even deal with those things. What we do is blame powerless minorities, and you rally the American people around vitriol and hatred. Really, a president of the United States calling a country garbage? People of a country? Really? That's what we're trying to educate our kids to do? So it is a deep issue. And what is the antidote? The antidote to that, in my view, is the need to rally the American people around an understanding the system is broken. And here is how we fix it. And if we get divided up because you're gay and I'm straight, or you're from Somalia and I'm from New York or Vermont or wherever I'm from, they are going to win. So the message is that you have a movement of people, in Mamdani, in a very effective way, did that in New York. Massive numbers of volunteers, black, white, Latino, gay, straight, the whole works. That's what we need to do. And you can't do that, though. Democratic establishment, how did he do it? Well, you can only do it if you have an agenda that excites people, that moves people. And if the establishment doesn't, which it doesn't, you're not going to do that. So we are trying to build, we're supporting really great candidates in the Senate, in the House, who understand those realities.
Last question. You mentioned Mamdani. How important is it that he deliver on those explicit campaign promises that he made around affordability, around the buses, about general improvement in life in New York City? Like, how important is it to the movement that you're talking about?
Enormously important. I do not envy this 36-year-old guy. I was just with him last week. and we spent a lot of time together. Running New York City, man, I mean, people talk about it, I think correctly, is the second most difficult job in the world, in the country. I mean, among many other things, he has 1 million kids in his school system. How's that? That's just an aside, on top of all the other problems that he faces. So the point is, what the establishment, what the Democratic establishment, what the oligarchs, what the Republicans want him to do is to fail. All right? Enormous pressure on this young man's shoulders. They want him to fail so they can go around saying, see, democratic socialism, he talked a good game, he wasn't able to do anything. Vote for the establishment. That's your only hope. Vote for the Cuomos of the world. So there is enormous pressure. Everybody in the world, I mean, you got the entire establishment going to be on him, trying to see that he fails. But if he can deliver, if he can, and by the way, between you and me, don't tell anybody, his agenda is not terribly radical.
No.
Yes.
In a city where nobody can afford to live, to say that you stabilize rents, not exactly a radical idea. When everybody knows how important childcare is to a human being's development, making it universal, high quality, and free, not a radical idea. It exists in many other countries. Improving public transportation, not a radical idea. Making sure that kids in underserved areas can get decent quality food with government intervention, really not a radical idea. I will do everything I can, and I hope, you know, everybody in this country will too, try to make sure that he succeeds. And there's just a lot of responsibility on his shoulders.
I imagine those who stand against Mamdani are less concerned about his policies actually working and more concerned about the broader sense of like what is possible and what can be done if he succeeds.
What a disaster for the establishment. If he succeeds, if you create a democratic form of government with a small d, where large numbers of people involved, you improve the schools, you improve healthcare, you improve transportation, you improve getting nutrition out to kids, you stabilize the cost of housing and build affordable housing. What a disaster for the Trumps of the world and the Republican establishment and the Democratic establishment. And all of those folks are going to be working as hard as they can to make sure that he does not succeed. So your point is, for better or worse, Mamdani's success and failures will not only impact New York City, they will be felt, by the way, not only nationally, but I think internationally. The whole world was watching this campaign. So again, I wish this young man all the very best, and we will do what we can to support him.
Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont, thank you so much for your time today. Really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, guys. Take care.
Thank you.
Okay, folks. That was Senator Bernie Sanders on this program. Just now, we recorded that interview yesterday. Just a reminder, it is your support that helps this show keep on keeping on. When you become a member of the Majority Report at jointhemajorityreport.com, jointhemajorityreport.com, you not only get the free show free of commercials, but you also get to IM us during the fun half. You get the fun half. But most importantly, you keep this show independent of any undue corporate influence. The only money that we take from corporations is the ones that we advertise, that we allow to sponsor the program. And we have no, I guess, big Seba Day has a lot of its talons in us. But aside from that, also Just Coffee, speaking of talons, this co-op in Madison, Wisconsin, who really takes care to treat their suppliers, farmers in Chiapas and in Africa, I think mostly West Africa, but I'm not sure. Maybe some Ethiopian too, though. So East Africa as well. treat their farmers and their producers well with fair trade. They're a co-op, and right now, 30% off. You don't even need the coupon code majority. 30% off to try the variety of Just Coffee coffees. So you can go and if you've never had the Majority Report blend, I would try that one. But I would also try maybe some of the others. I think Bike Fuel is still my favorite. Although I've got a couple. But try out a bunch of different blends or single origin, justcoffee.coop. And also, don't forget the AM Quickie. We have two great writers who every day compile the news from a decidedly a left perspective. Whitney writes for the American Prospect. Corey, a longtime writer in the left space, both tremendous. And you can get that 3 days a week for free by going to amquickie.com. If you want 5 days, I think it's a couple of bucks, not even a couple of bucks a week. It's like $1.50 a week, not even $1.50 a week, less, $1.35 a week, maybe. So check that out, amquickie.com. Of course, we've got merch. If you want to give somebody a Christmas present, I think you can still make it right now at shop.majorityreportradio.com. And of course, the Discord, majoritydiscord.com. Matt.
Yeah, two things to plug today. First, selfishly, my Instagram. I'm trying to.
It's the wrong season for that type of selfishness.
It's like the right season for that. I can think about what kind of presents I'm gonna get, all that sort of stuff.
That's true. Actually,
a gift basket my parents gonna send me.
Do your parents send you gift baskets?
Well, yeah, send me like Munster cookies and fudge and all that stuff for Christmas. It's delicious. I put on like 5 pounds in like 2 days.
All right.
So yeah, my Instagram, because I'm trying to get off of Twitter because I basically just like provoke Nazis. And I don't know if it's, I don't know how much I need to do that more than I already am. And also Jacobin Show, which I produce. David Griscom had Jasper Nathaniel on. Now we had 16,000 views on the second show, and then we had Jasper on to talk about the West Bank, and YouTube absolutely buried it. We got 1.5 thousand. So go subscribe, because you probably didn't see this recommended to you in your algorithm, but go subscribe to Jacobin on YouTube, and make sure you get the Jacobin Show, which airs at 10 o'clock every Friday morning.
Something weird is going on with YouTube.
Yeah.
Like something weird is definitely going on the past month, because we have lost new viewers. We have we can tell there's data that says new and casual and regular.
Yeah.
Not subscribers, but new, casual, regular. I think the definition is casual is under 5 times viewed in a month, and then I think over 5 times or something like that is regular. And usually, and then new. And usually we're at one third in terms of makes up our whole audience. Our numbers are not down. It's just that the
recommendations?
I don't know what it is.
That usually is what it is. It's not serving up the recommendations.
Yeah, it's weird, but usually your numbers will drop overall if it's not serving up. But I have a feeling, I don't know, something's going on. They're always doing something over there. And, people have also complained that in their year-round YouTube Wraps, which I'm not even familiar with, but I guess that's who you've been watching the most, we don't show up in it, even for people who watch the show every day.
Yeah, people are suggesting that might be the unlisted fun half thing isn't counting toward that, which is plausible, I guess.
Who knows? I mean...
Stupid AI, if that's what's happening.
We got to burn this whole thing down.
Let's go to Mr. Brian Vokey on Instagram and...
Yeah. Go to Brian and Matt on Instagram. Let me see what my Instagram is. I'm definitely. Oh, it's sam.cedar.
Yeah. You gonna start getting busy on there?
I'm gonna take off. I've done 2 posts. And
is this the one you want to be plugging?
I didn't know how to do that. No, that's my main channel.
You've done 2 posts on it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think I did that by mistake. I think people sent it to me.
That's why I'm asking. Like,
well, I'm
how
gonna
intentional
soon.
is
Just
this?
listen. I will start posting stuff there if I get to. Right now, I have 5,400 followers. If I get to,
I think I got that much.
should I? If I get to 10,000 followers, I'm going to do at least a post.
You'll do,
and then also a story.
If
Are
I
those
hit
two different things?
50,000, I will also do a post.
If there's story or is it like a story?
Yep, there's stories. And
Okay, Brian's going to show me how to do it.
Sam will do
and we
the-
will actually, that will be our first post.
Sam will do the.
You teaching me how to do Instagram and me, being all a boomer about it. But I'm not technically a boomer.
Sam will do the Tyler Chanel dance.
I don't know what that is. 6'7".
All right, fun.
See you in a fun
half.
half.